Can you imagine that something as small as a mink or a civet could be at the center of billion-dollar global industries? Each year, over 50 million mink pelts are harvested around the world, fueling a fashion market that thrives on the promise of softness, warmth, and exclusivity. At the same time, in remote farms across Asia and Africa, civets, small, shy, nocturnal animals, are raised not for their fur, but for their droppings. Yes, you heard that right. These droppings are the secret behind one of the world's most expensive and exotic coffees, civet coffee, also known as kopi luwak. These industries might seem worlds apart, but they share more in common than you think. They both rely on intensive farming practices. They both cater to elite markets, and increasingly, they both raise serious ethical questions. In this video, we're going to take you inside these hidden industries, starting with the global mink fur trade, then diving into the curious world of civet coffee. Along the way, we'll explore how these products are made, how they're marketed, and why they command such a high price on the global stage. But we won't stop there. We'll also examine the growing movement towards sustainability, where materials like bamboo are stepping in as eco-friendly alternatives. Because as consumers become more informed, the demand is shifting from luxury at any cost to luxury with conscience. So, what's the real cost of these everyday luxuries? Before we begin, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss our next exciting videos. If you enjoy this video and its topic, comment with the number 1. We'll make more videos like this. And if you didn't like the content, feel free to comment with the number 2. Among all the luxury materials in the fashion world, few carry the same reputation and controversy as mink fur. Coveted for its unmatched softness, natural sheen, and incredible insulation properties, mink fur has long symbolized wealth, sophistication, and status. It's a staple in high-end fashion collections, from long winter coats to detailed trim on designer accessories. Behind this image of elegance is an industry of massive scale. Each year, the global mink fur trade produces around 50 million pelts, generating an estimated $8 billion in revenue. The largest producers are Denmark, China, and the United States, countries that have developed intensive fur farming systems to meet demand. Denmark, for years, led the world in mink production before being overtaken by China, which now dominates both in volume and export reach. On a typical fur farm, the life of a mink begins with controlled breeding. Farmers pair minks selectively to maintain desirable fur quality, focusing on color, texture, and density. After birth, kits are raised in individual or paired enclosures, small wire cages that allow limited mobility. Their diet is closely monitored, consisting of high-protein meals made from fish, poultry byproducts, and grains, aimed at promoting rapid growth and dense fur development. By around 6 to 8 months of age, the minks are fully grown, and their coats have reached the ideal texture and fullness for harvest. Harvesting fur from mink is a process that has been refined over decades. To reduce suffering and avoid damage to the pelt, sedation methods are used to render the animal unconscious before the pelt is removed. While this practice is defended by the industry as a way to minimize stress and ensure the quality of the fur, it remains one of the most criticized aspects of fur farming. Once the pelts are collected, they go through a complex processing chain. First, the fur is cleaned to remove natural oils and impurities. It can then be bleached to strip away the original color, providing a blank canvas for luxury fashion brands to dye the fur into a wide range of shades. Industrial rotating drums are often used in this stage, helping chemicals penetrate deeply into the fur and skin. This not only evens out the color but also softens the hide, making the final product more flexible and comfortable to wear. But even as the industry evolves technologically, it is increasingly challenged by global ethical debates. Animal rights organizations have long condemned the conditions on fur farms, citing the confinement, lack of stimulation, and the psychological stress experienced by the animals. Undercover investigations, viral campaigns, and social media activism have placed intense pressure on the industry. In response, several European countries, including the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and more recently France, have implemented outright bans or are phasing out mink farming altogether. In the United States, fur farming remains legal, but the industry is shrinking as more states and cities adopt for-sale bans or introduce strict animal welfare regulations. The fashion world is also undergoing a quiet revolution. Major brands like Gucci, Prada, and Chanel have declared themselves fur-free, signaling a shift in consumer preferences. The rise of faux fur, once a cheap imitation, now a high-tech alternative, has changed how people view luxury. Made from synthetic fibers but designed to mimic the feel and appearance of real fur, these alternatives are embraced by fashion-forward consumers who want the look without the ethical baggage. Still, the mink fur industry persists, balancing on a fine line between tradition and change, craftsmanship and criticism. While the debate continues, one thing is clear. The choices made by designers, lawmakers, and especially consumers will shape the future of this billion-dollar business. Tucked away in the remote corners of Southeast Asia is one of the most unusual and most expensive coffee production methods in the world. It's called Civet coffee, or by its local name, Kopi Luwak. This coffee doesn't get its distinct flavor from roasting techniques or rare beans, but from the digestive process of a small nocturnal animal, the Asian palm civet. Here's how it works. Civets roam coffee plantations and select only the ripest, juiciest coffee cherries to eat. As the cherries pass through their digestive tract, the beans inside undergo a fermentation process. Enzymes in the civet's stomach break down certain proteins that typically cause bitterness in coffee. What emerges, quite literally, is a smoother, more aromatic bean. Once excreted, the beans are collected from the feces, thoroughly cleaned, sun-dried, roasted, and brewed into what some call the world's most exotic cup of coffee. On the surface, it's a fascinating blend of nature and craftsmanship, but behind the $100 per cup price tag lies a farming system that has raised significant ethical concerns. To meet the growing global demand, especially from luxury cafes and tourists, Civet coffee is no longer just a wild discovery. It's become a commercial farming operation. On civet farms, these animals are often kept in small cages with limited space and minimal stimulation. Their diet is controlled, consisting primarily of coffee cherries, which are force-fed in large quantities to ensure maximum production. Civets are solitary, territorial animals by nature. Being confined with other civets, or even just being in close quarters, creates a high-stress environment. Over time, these conditions lead to significant health issues: malnutrition, fur loss, abnormal behavior, and in many cases, shortened lifespans. The typical nurturing period for farmed civets lasts around 8 months before they're intensively used for coffee production, but many never recover from the psychological and physical toll. Once the cherries are digested and excreted, the beans are carefully collected from the droppings. They are washed multiple times to remove any residue, then dried under the sun until they reach a moisture level suitable for long-term storage. To ensure the beans are completely dry and shelf-stable, they are often placed in dry heat dryers as a final step. From there, the beans are roasted and packaged for high-end markets. What makes this process so appealing to coffee connoisseurs is the unique flavor. Thanks to the enzymes during digestion, the beans tend to lose much of their bitterness. The result is a cup with low acidity, earthy notes, and a surprisingly smooth finish. But is that flavor worth the cost, both financially and ethically? Animal welfare groups argue that the rise in demand has led to a sharp decline in the quality of life for farmed civets. Under continuous stress and deprived of their natural behaviors, civets often stop reproducing entirely. This raises questions not just about the ethics of the product, but also about the long-term sustainability of the industry itself. In response to growing backlash, some producers now offer what's known as wild-sourced civet coffee. These beans are collected from droppings left by free-roaming civets in the wild, without the need for cages or captivity. However, this method is labor-intensive, yields are low, and the product is significantly more expensive, making it a rare find on the market and sometimes falsely labeled. For those who still seek unique flavors but want to avoid the ethical dilemma altogether, specialty coffee producers are stepping in with alternatives. Using fermentation techniques that mimic the digestive process, these innovators are able to create similarly smooth and complex flavor profiles without involving any animals at all. So while civet coffee may still have a certain allure, it's no longer just about the taste. it has become a reflection of the broader conversation. How far are we willing to go in the name of luxury, and at what cost to the creatures involved? When we think of luxury, we often imagine the product itself, soft fur, rich coffee, and elegant finish. But what we don't always see is the system behind the scenes that makes these products feel exclusive, desirable, and worth the premium price. And a big part of that system comes down to labeling, packaging, and branding. For both mink fur and civet coffee, traceability has become a key part of the customer experience. In a world where consumers are asking more questions about where their products come from, origin labeling isn't just a formality, it's a form of trust. A fur garment labeled with country of origin, farming standards, and processing details sends a signal. This isn't just any fur, it's traceable, controlled, and at least in theory, responsibly sourced. Similarly, with civet coffee, some producers now include certifications or QR codes that trace the beans back to specific farms or even individual civets, offering a sense of transparency in a product often criticized for its murky origins. But beyond transparency, presentation matters. When mink fur is prepared for export, each pelt is carefully rolled or laid flat in a way that prevents creasing or fiber damage. This isn't just about protection, it's about preserving the luxury feel. For civet coffee, packaging does more than hold the beans. It seals in aroma, highlights the rarity of the product, and adds visual flair. Gold-stamped labels, embossed logos, and handcrafted boxes all contribute to the impression that what's inside is something special. Marketing takes this even further. Words like exotic, wild-sourced, and handcrafted are carefully chosen to frame these products as rare, exclusive experiences. It's not just a coat. It's a symbol of taste. It's not just a cup of coffee. It's a conversation piece. This language plays directly into the psychology of luxury, where the product's story becomes part of its value. The target audience here is clear: high-end consumers, fashion houses, and luxury cafes. These are people willing to pay not just for quality, but for identity. And in a market where perception is everything, packaging and branding are no longer afterthoughts. They are essential parts of the product itself. While the world debates the ethics of luxury derived from animals, a quieter revolution is taking place, rooted not in controversy, but in sustainability. The answer? Bamboo. This unassuming plant is emerging as one of the most promising materials of our time, offering an alternative to both timber and plastic, and changing the way we think about production, packaging, and daily consumption. Compared to traditional hardwood trees, which can take anywhere from 30 to 100 years to mature, bamboo shoots up in just 5 to 7 years. Some species even grow several centimeters per hour. That kind of growth speed isn't just impressive, it's transformative. It means faster harvest cycles, reduced land use, and a consistent, renewable supply. But bamboo's benefits go far beyond speed. It's also a carbon sink, absorbing more CO2 and releasing more oxygen than many trees of similar mass. In the fight against climate change, bamboo stands tall. In construction, bamboo has long been recognized for its surprising strength and flexibility. What's often overlooked, though, is just how efficient it is. Building a 1,000 square foot home with traditional timber could require up to 12 acres of forest. That same home, built using bamboo, needs just 1 acre. And because bamboo is lightweight and easy to transport, it's especially valuable in remote or mountainous areas where moving heavy machinery isn't practical. But bamboo isn't just for buildings, it's fast becoming a go-to material in our kitchens, cafes, and lunchboxes. As countries crack down on single-use plastics, bamboo has stepped up to fill the gap. Today, you'll find disposable bamboo chopsticks in restaurants, reusable bamboo straws in coffee shops, and eco-friendly bamboo forks and spoons replacing plastic at events. Unlike their synthetic counterparts, bamboo products decompose naturally, don't leach chemicals, and are safe for both humans and the planet. Of course, turning raw bamboo into consumer products still requires care and precision. After being harvested and shaped, the bamboo is washed in anti-mold solutions to enhance its durability and prevent bacterial growth. Next, it's transferred into high-temperature kilns, where it's dried and sterilized to ensure hygiene. For utensils like spoons or forks, A shaping press applies intense heat and pressure to mold the bamboo into clean, uniform forms. The result is a product that's not only biodegradable, but also stylish, durable, and safe to use. What's driving this shift isn't just government policy, it's consumer demand. More people are making intentional choices about what they buy, not just based on price or convenience, but based on impact. The eco-conscious shopper isn't a fringe buyer anymore. They're becoming the mainstream. And in response, businesses are pivoting. From packaging companies to major retailers, the shift toward bamboo-based products reflects a broader movement toward materials that are reusable, recyclable, or compostable. Many governments are also stepping in, introducing incentives for green alternatives and imposing bans on high-waste plastics. This regulatory push, combined with a genuine shift in consumer values, has created a fertile ground for bamboo innovation. Whether it's utensils, furniture, construction panels, or even fabric, bamboo is becoming the material of choice in a world searching for balance between growth and sustainability. In the face of industries that rely heavily on animal labor or environmental strain, bamboo offers a remarkably simple proposition. Grow fast, waste little, give back more than you take. It's not just a material. It's a model for how future industries can work in harmony with the planet. Luxury has always been about rarity, craftsmanship, and refinement. But increasingly, it's also about responsibility. Today's consumers are more informed than ever. With just a few taps on a phone, they can find out where a product came from, how it was made, and what kind of impact it had on animals, workers, and the environment. This shift in awareness is reshaping the luxury market from the inside out. People are no longer satisfied with beautiful products. They want ethical ones too. That means brands are under growing pressure to prove not just the quality of what they sell, but the integrity behind it. Transparency is no longer optional. Whether it's a designer coat or a specialty food item, buyers want to know the full story, and companies that don't deliver that clarity risk losing trust. At the same time, innovation is opening up entirely new paths forward. In fashion, researchers are developing lab-grown fur that mimics the look and feel of real mink, without involving animals at all. These bioengineered materials are still in early stages, but they signal a future where luxury doesn't require ethical compromise. In the world of coffee, similar breakthroughs are underway. Scientists are experimenting with fermentation techniques that replicate the enzymatic processes of civet digestion without using civets. These lab-based approaches could offer the same rich, smooth flavor profiles that connoisseurs crave, while eliminating the need for animal involvement altogether. Beyond the lab, governments and NGOs are stepping up too. In many countries, fur farming is now tightly regulated or banned outright. Regulations govern not only how animals are kept, but how products are labeled and sold. Certification systems, like those backed by third-party auditors or animal welfare groups, help enforce higher standards and provide consumers with tools to make better choices. Watchdog organizations also play a vital role. They investigate practices, publish reports, and bring public attention to what goes on behind closed doors. Their work has pushed many industries to adopt higher ethical standards, and it's working. We're already seeing companies revise supply chains, close non-compliant farms, and invest in sustainable alternatives. All of this points to a powerful trend, the rise of ethical luxury. In this new landscape, a product's value isn't just measured by how rare or refined it is, but by how responsibly it was made. For many consumers, ethics and aesthetics are no longer separate categories, they're deeply connected. And that connection is often built through storytelling. The brands that thrive in this new era are the ones that don't just sell an item. They share its journey. They invite the buyer into the process, show them the people, the materials, the values behind the product. In doing so, they create something far more valuable than status. They build trust, loyalty, and meaning. Ethical consumption isn't a trend. It's a new standard. And the future of luxury will belong to those who can meet it with creativity, transparency, and a commitment to something bigger than profit. Luxury often arrives in polished packaging, soft to the touch, rich in flavor, elegant in design. But peel back the layers, and you'll find something more complicated. Behind every piece of mink fur and every cup of Civet coffee is a supply chain shaped by months of care, precise technology, and a series of ethical decisions. Some transparent, others hidden. These products don't exist in isolation. They are the result of choices made at every level, by farmers, by manufacturers, by designers, and ultimately, by us. But the landscape is changing. Innovations are emerging, lab-grown materials, plant-based alternatives, and humane sourcing models that challenge the idea that luxury must come at a moral cost. These options remind us that elegance and ethics don't have to be opposites. As consumers, we hold more power than we realize. Every purchase we make is a signal to the market, an endorsement of a system, a method, a set of values. And that raises a question worth asking. If you truly knew the story behind the things you buy, if you saw the cages, the factories, the farms, would you still choose the same product? That question doesn't come with easy answers, but it invites a conversation. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe luxury and ethics can coexist? What alternatives have you discovered that align with your values? Share your perspective in the comments below. Because the future of luxury isn't just about what we wear or drink, it's about what we choose to stand for.